Okay, so today we're going to be doing a comparison video where we're going to be comparing the Separett Villa composting toilet to the Nature's Head composting toilet, which is the most commonly used composting toilet on the market in tiny houses right now. Both of them have urine diverters, which I think is probably a good idea. I found that keeping my urine waste separated from my own personal composting toilet system, separate from my solid waste, has really cut down on most of this, like 95% of the smell, as long as you take it out on a regular basis and don't overfill it. So I like that these both have urine diverters, but I've heard it does make it kind of complicated to use them. For the Nature's Head self-contained composting toilet, it's got a lot of moving parts, as you can see. So this right here that we're looking at, that's really big on the right-hand side of the screen, that is where your urine will go. And from what I've heard, that will need to be taken out about every 2 or 3 days if there's 2 people using it full time, but maybe a little less or a little more depending on how much water you drink. It is supposed to have to be taken out a lot more than your solid waste. This nice little lovely spinny thing right here, that is kind of like flushing a toilet, kind of weirdly. So you twist that to kind of macerate your solid waste and mix it in with the peat moss or whatever composting substrate like wood shavings or peat moss or coconut coir that you use for your solid waste. And then this little doohickey right here, if you flip the switch, I think that's what opens and closes the vent so your solid waste can fall into it. So yeah, that's the basic tutorial of what the composting toilet looks like. Cost-wise, this is $960, and I believe it does include a fan as well. Let me double check that. I believe they both have fans. Yeah, so they both have fans, which is nice. And yep, there we go. Yeah, I think you can opt out of using the fan, but it would probably work better with it. Because the whole idea is the moisture comes away from the fan, and that takes all the smell out of your solid waste. And any smell that you would theoretically have is vented out to the outside. So you have the fans running full blast the whole time, and that dries out your solid waste so you can actually have more solid waste in there between takeouts. And you're supposed to only have to take it out every 2 to 3 weeks, even though it's a really small compact thing. If you look at the dimensions, it's 22 by 20 by 21. That seems pretty small to me. So that's kind of cool, I suppose. With the Villa, I really like the aesthetics look of this more, but the vent is going to be more bulky. If you look up images of it online, you can see that right here, it's got like a huge vent that it would need to go through if for some reason you couldn't vent it through a wall and you would have to vent it out through the roof. And that seems kind of complicated to me. Just, it does. Anyway, but the nice thing about the Villa is that you can actually last longer without having to take it out. So let me go down here and let's look at, oh wait, it was in the user's manual. So you can actually use PVC pipe tubing and have it either go into a large holding tank. I'm assuming this would be above ground, even though this looks like it's pictured above ground. A leaching field, which seems kind of like a very long-term thing where maybe a tiny house might not be a good fit for. Or you could hook it into your gray water system, which could be nice. I've heard with the Separett and all with the Separett, the urine crystals do tend to build up a little bit, and it does require a little bit of additional care. But I just wanted to read some reviews of the Separett to give you guys some ideas. Okay, so I've been living in a tiny house with a Separett toilet for 2 years now. As a composting or dry toilet goes, this one is hard to beat if you're at all squeamish with dealing with human waste. Water and moistures is what makes their contents smell, and the whole dry composting to separate so that each component can be dealt with separately makes it better. it's a bit more expensive, but has the features that makes the price worthwhile. Oh, that's a good point. The fan inside worked continuously, and that keeps any potential order from developing. Cool. Okay. All right. So she's a big fan. Um, but she doesn't like incinerating toilets because they use too much energy. Makes sense. Okay. Does what it says. It doesn't smell, and it's clean and comfortable. Okay. Uh, well, she's got a familial pushback. That's probably a common theme with people. I've known people in the past who have been so disgusted by composting toilets, and I honestly don't blame them. It's not for everybody. Sounds like if you're using it, then it's not. Oh, wow, this one, their fan died. I love the toilet for the first month, but the fan stopped working after barely a month, which makes the toilet totally worthless. Reached out 4 times now, and I haven't heard back about what can or can't be done. Oh my gosh, that poor lady. Or woman. Or man. I just assumed it was a woman. But anyhow, so those are a couple reviews of that. The other thing that's kind of cool is I know that Separett actually has models where you can have toilet seats for kids added on. So if you have children, then you can put the seat over top of this, which I think is a nice built-in feature that definitely a DIY system would not have integrated into it. So yeah, so the Separett is more expensive, and both plug-in. The aesthetics of this one are, I think, a little more appealing in my opinion. And after you use it, either spot, you would have to spray it with vinegar to make sure that there doesn't end up being dried up pee being in this area, which I think is a little kind of weird, reaching your hand into the toilet to the place where you're doing your business, but that's just part of these particular models. There was some Nature's Head reviews I wanted to show you guys that I thought were pretty interesting, especially because this person is not happy with it. So obviously, I just want to reiterate that this has like a 4.5-star rating, but this person has a pretty good feedback for the design of this. Now this is the Nature's Head. For 2 people, the urine jug will require emptying every single day, and it reeks during every step of that process. Maybe that person has a strong sense of smell. The main compartment will require emptying every 1.5 to 2 weeks, unless you put less toilet paper in, and by then there's a sludge of wet, smelly poop. Nothing earthy about the smell or look. Well, maybe they're not adding enough of the peat moss or whatever they're doing, but still, when you attempt to lift this thing to empty it, it is too unwieldy for one person to do alone. One person must hold the bag over the opening while the other person lifts and tips. While it's upside down, shit will get on the inside of the lip of the top edge. You need to spray this out with a hose every time. The mixer does not mix in dirt at the edges and corner of the bucket, wasting about 50% of the dirt in there. I think they're referring to peat moss. You will have to manually mix this at least once a cycle. Poop door does not completely fold away, and about half of it sticks into the opening, and poop will get in there and build up, causing urine hitting the door in the future to not drain away properly, adding to urine in the bucket next time the door is opened, and getting the poop into the diverter mechanism, which is not accessible for cleaning. This sounds very complicated. Like I was just going in a bucket. Wow. Oh yeah, this is something women have to pee before opening the door to poop. Have fun doing that. Yeah. Okay, fan isn't powerful enough. Poop does not dry out. It isn't powerful enough to prevent backflow of air, and when your main bathroom fan is on during a shower. Oh, that's an important consideration. Anytime you take a shower, your bathroom gets filled with humid, stinky poop air. Fun. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. That's gucky. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, just read this right here. This is hysterical. This is damaging to relationships. I'm way too intimate with both my partners and my own waste now. After 6 months, I'm not accustomed to this yet. Wow. They lasted 6 months. They sound so unhappy. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Oh my gosh, this person's resentful of their partner's poop. That's so funny. Okay, so this next one I think is very interesting because it uh, is relevant because I'm using a bucket system right now. After 11 years of using a sawdust toilet, I've recently tried the Nature's Head, only to be very disappointed. I'm going back to my 5-gallon bucket and composting according to the Human Handbook by Joseph Jenkins. Ooh, that's going to be our resource of the week. That's a super helpful book, guys. It's so much easier to empty and clean. My compost is beautiful. Our local university teaches a class in soil microbiology, and the teacher of the course looked at our compost under the microscope. It was pronounced pathogen-free and full of good bacteria. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so this person just is not happy and had other people, she bought this toilet in order to make it easier for other people, but it sounds like her son actually had trouble with it. And it's heavy too. Okay. That said, everybody else seems really happy with it, but I just loved those 2 reviews because I feel like when people talk about composting toilets, they're very often focusing on the positive over the negative, and I think it's very, very important um, to look at the negatives when buying something, especially if it costs $1,000, because these guys both are really expensive. I wonder if I wanted to, if I could just like rig a fan for my bucket composting toilet or something. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my resource video for the week. This was me comparing my Nature's Head over Separett Villa. I think if I was going to recommend one over the other, I'd recommend both of them. But just it depends on how intimate you want to be with it. It sounds like the Separett Villa 9215 is a little bit more hands-off because you can go longer without having to take out this, and then the Nature's Head is a little bit cheaper, so that if $40 is something that makes a big difference for you, then that's something to keep in mind. And also it's a little bit more energy intensive, so you'd be using it more often, or you'd be doing more maintenance on it more often. Thanks! If you would like to send video and gain value from it, please let me know by dropping me a like and a comment down below. If you're enjoying videos with this particular style of content, also let me know because I'm thinking about doing one of these style videos every single week. Thanks! Bye!